Ladies and gentlemen, this is Kim Greenhouse with It's Rainmaking Time. I'm here at the home of Pari Spolter, the author of Gravitational Force of the Sun. This is a breakthrough series of discoveries about information and knowledge that is not being accepted in the mainstream scientific community. It was explained to me that she has totally new information about Einstein's theories of relativity and others. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Pari Spolter to It's Rainmaking Time. Good afternoon.
Thank you very much. I think that science should be based on observational and experimental data. Taxpayers so far have wasted $1 billion of their money. They paid $300 million to build two 4-kilometer-long laser interferometer LIGO, and they have admitted that they have not detected any gravitational wave. The Gravity Probe B in Stanford, they say that they have detected frame dragging. Their original data did not show anything. They have finagled with this data for 5 years, and now they say it is significant to 19%. And 19% is not statistically significant, is not acceptable. They have spent $760 million of taxpayers' money. I believe that with that money, to do research on alternate energy, we would be independent of foreign oil today, and we wouldn't be polluting the air.
Why would we have been independent of foreign oil, and why would we have had clean energy? Explain it.
Because science will find clean and affordable energy. Science before Einstein used to be based on observational and experimental data. Einstein first introduced extensive set of advanced mathematical equations comprising the general theory of relativity. And then his followers tried to fit nature to it. I think this is basically wrong. I don't think that the taxpayers should waste their money to prove Einstein's predictions. Science should be first getting experimental data and observational data and then interpret.
What led you into looking at the gravitational forces of the sun? When did you become interested in that, and why?
Well, I got my PhD in biochemistry from the University of Wisconsin in Madison. And I used to work for many years, and I published lots of data. They were supported by the government grants. And then I had my 2 babies, and my husband supported me, and I stayed home. And when my children grew up and they went to college, I had time to do research and study on my own, and I was happy because I didn't have a boss, and I was able to choose the subject of my own interest, and I could take as much time as I wanted to investigate a particular topic to get to the bottom of it. You don't have time when you're working on a government grant. On a government grant, you have to publish. You can go several years without publishing and have a job. So I was very lucky. My husband was a pediatrician, and he supported me. And I could take as much time as it was necessary to investigate a particular topic.
What were the questions that you were asking yourself that led you to your discoveries about the sun?
Well, I grew up with all these years of doing research and publishing. And then I was a full-time mother with my 2 babies. And then they left to college. The hiatus gave me an opportunity to look back at certain problems. Newton came up with the theory of gravitation many years ago. Now, the main thing that was based on observation came from Kepler, Johannes Kepler. Newton was born 12 years after Kepler died. Kepler had the observational data from Tycho Brahe. They didn't have telescope at that time. So Kepler's third law was never interpreted until my book. At the time that I wrote my book, we had a lot better data, more precise observations. At the time of Kepler, they knew only 6 planets. And Kepler came up with his 3 laws based on Tycho Brahe's observation. Tycho Brahe had 30 years of pre-telescopic observations of the motion and the position of the planets. Newton did not interpret Kepler's third law. When I started my work, we had a lot more precise data. We had more planets and asteroids, and we had a lot more precise observations. And I believed in Kepler's work more than Newton's because Kepler's laws were based on observation. Newton was not. Newton just guessed. There is no basis for the product of the 2 masses in the equation of gravitational force that Newton has, and that now you have in all the textbooks of physics and astronomy.
Why did Newton's laws become accepted?
I can't answer that because he was a big shot in England. He was right on certain things, but he certainly was wrong in his equation for gravitational force. He just threw in product of the 2 masses out of nowhere. If you read my book, I introduce what Newton said about gravitation. He himself admits the basic is independent of mass. The inverse square of the distance is based on acceleration of an object falling to the surface of the Earth and the acceleration of the moon going around the Earth. He doesn't say anything about the mass. So there is no justification for product of the masses or for any mass in the equation of gravitational force. Kepler's third law is the equation for gravitational force. And I have interpreted Kepler's third law as the product of acceleration and the area. There is no mass in Kepler's third law.
What implications does this have for science?
I don't know what causes the gravitation. Kepler thought it was magnetism.
Magnetism?
Magnetism. You know, all of the planets turn around the sun in the same direction as the sun rotates. So Kepler thought it's the rotation of the sun that makes all of the 9 planets rotate around the sun in the same direction as the sun rotates. Kepler thought that the gravitational force was due to magnetism. All I can say is that I have the correct interpretation of Kepler's third law, which neither Newton nor Einstein did. Einstein just had speculations, and Newton had no basis to throw in product of the masses or any mass.
Why do you think a wrong theory is still alive?
If you read the mainstream journals, you wouldn't be asking me that because so much junk gets published. I showed you 2 of the things. If they come from a prestigious institution, if you are in a faculty at Harvard or Caltech or Stanford and you send any insignificant data to science, it gets published. If you are not, if you have data based on observational data and very highly significant, and you send, they get rejected without any review. Anything that goes against the accepted dogma, no, cannot get published.
Don't you